Good evening and welcome to the Boss Room. My name is Alex Kaz, and I'm joined by my co-host,
Shamster. What do we got? What do we got? A lot of stuff.
Hype Block. All right, so this week Nintendo released a patch for Mario 3D All-Stars where it includes the inverse camera controls, which was a big issue. Is that correct, Shamster?
Inverse? It is for Super Mario Sunshine. Mario Sunshine. It's just annoying without it.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really play Sunshine on 3D All-Stars collection yet. But they did add GameCube controller support, so you can use the analog triggers on that, and I have a Wavebird, so I'd be able to use that in there, so I'm definitely gonna test it out whenever I do play it for sure, but, I do think it's cool that they added that in.
It's already a hard game. So that's part of it too. Like the controls are just hard to get used to. But it's probably going to be better now that you can inverse it. Because wasn't the original inversed? They just changed it for no reason.
Yeah, well, they changed it so the camera controls mimicked, modern controls more so, which I didn't mind, because I did test it out a little bit, and to me, it wasn't too bad.
Couldn't do it. I don't know, and I don't always even have to inverse, or I don't know if it's going to inverse an inverse control setup. I don't really know. I just know it felt way off, and I just got like because not too long ago I was playing the Super Mario Sunshine on. Is it Mario Sunshine or Super Mario Sunshine?
It's Super Mario Sunshine.
And I was playing it on the GameCube. It's totally backwards, and then I started playing it on you know Twitch on the All Star Collection, and it just didn't work well. It seemed too off. It was just throwing me off. I could tell I was doing it the other way because I kept doing the opposite of what I was supposed to be doing. I mean, I could probably get used to it. It's already, like I said, kind of hard. It's kind of the controls are kind of hard anyway, so it's double frustrating. So that'll be a good update.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think the long jump is in Mario Sunshine, but it does have the flood controls, which kind of, I guess, alleviate that. But yeah, the controls are hard. Even the 3D sections I found super hard because you're so slippery.
You mean on the with the Switch without the GameCube support?
I'm talking about in Mario Sunshine, the game, there's those like regular 3D Mario sections, and those are super hard.
Yeah, you mean well, what about like the water one where you have to climb on the cage tops? I'm
Yep.
talking about? Is that one of those? That's what you're considering
No, that's
3D?
not that's not what I'm referring to.
Then maybe I don't even know because that's where we are.
It's those levels where they take flood away altogether and you're just normal Mario.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! You just spoiled it. I didn't get there yet, even though it's a 10-year-old game. But I guess the limitations up. It's fine.
There's multiple sections of that.
No, it's a 15-year-old game at least. Yeah. All right. Well, either way, the patch will patch all that out.
So the next story that we have is about the DualSense and Switch HD Rumble. It turns out that the company that added the haptic feedback to the DualSense was the same company that worked on the HD Rumble and the Switch. It's a California-based company called Immersion Touch Sense Force Technology. So I think that's pretty cool. I know Nintendo really highly promoted HD Rumble initially, and then the sort of support for it fell off a little bit. But every game that had HD Rumble support, one example I think of is Mario Maker 2. Every time you get a coin, you just feel a very slight HD Rumble haptic feedback from that, and I think that's awesome. What do you think about that?
When I actually first used the DualSense on the PlayStation 5, that specifically seems more of a jump than the HD Rumble did. It's interesting to know that it's the same company. It's working on it, and then you could tell they're evolving as a team. The thing that gets me though, the very first thing that popped in my mind when you even said that was, how the heck do you even specialize in something like that? Like, okay, game design, whatever. You're moving that. That's cool. I think it's cool because it's like, oh, we're in a haptic feedback for like the console industry or whatever, and that's so specialized. And it's cool that they're like leading. It seems like they're leading the way because they did it for the Switch, and they did another version for the PlayStation 5. So they're working with some major companies, so they're doing something right.
Yeah, and I certainly hope that they are still continuing to work with Nintendo for the next iteration or the next, generation of their Switch or whatever their next generation console is.
I know what it's going to be.
Official prediction.
VR suit, but not like a suit you would go to a wedding in, or like a suit that you could just slip on super quick, and it would get evolve over time just like anything else. I'm gonna make a family friendly game here. Let's pretend there's a game about a snowball battle, and everyone's having a blast throwing snowballs. You get hit in the shoulder with a snowball. Well, the suit has haptic feedback and it vibrates precisely where it hits in relation to you in the game. So that would be one use of it. It's going to come. It won't start as a suit. It'll start probably as like gloves or something. But I think that's going to come.
So the next and our final story before we get into the next section is there was a giant leak that happened with Capcom where unfortunately for them, the next 4 years of games that they're working on has been leaked out. And it's an unfortunate situation, but I mean, we sort of know what to expect from Capcom for the next 4 years. Shamster, why don't you get into some of the titles that have been leaked?
There's a lot. I mean, I don't know what everyone likes, so I'll go through all of them and I'll do it quick. So these are some of the games that are supposedly in the schedule at Capcom to be developed. Resident Evil Outbreak. I'm going to go through them first, and then we can kind of skim through a couple of them and see what you think. Resident Evil Outbreak, Dragon's Dogma 2, Street Fighter 6, Pac-Man, Mega Man in North America match. Resident Evil remake or 4 remake is quarter 4 2022. Anyway, Monster Hunter 6, Biohazard Apocalypse, that's 2023, quarter 3. SSF6. Do you know what that is?
Super Street Fighter 6, I think.
Well, that was on here twice then. Super Street Fighter 6. The other one is just Street Fighter 6. All right, they'll probably come.
It's an upgrade to Street Fighter 6, I'm guessing.
Actually, that makes sense. I was thinking they'd come as a combo pack, but that wouldn't make sense because they're coming out different years. Anyway, here's the one I'm most excited about. We'll talk about this. Final Fight Remake. That's 2024, so who knows what's going to happen. A Power Stone remake, which is a big one. A lot of people. I'm excited for that and Final Flight. And those are both pretty far away. So we'll see. Ultra
Yeah, well,
SF6. So yeah, you're probably right. They must.
Yeah, that one's Ultra
Every
Street
year they
Fighter
do a big
6
update.
for sure.
It's 2024, quarter 4. So it's like all of them come out quarter 3, quarter 4. And those seem to be updates that come out every year, schedule, at least according to the schedule. And then the last one that we have on this list is Resident Evil Hank.
It's Resident Evil with Hank Hill is what I've been hearing. So out of this list here, I'm curious what that Monster Hunter 6 is, if that's Monster Hunter World 2 or if this is a Switch game for 2023. The Final Fight remake, like you were saying, that looks pretty cool. The Power Stone remake, I'm very excited about. One
That is
quick thing I
cool.
want to mention is about Street Fighter 6. Now, Street Fighter 5 currently is a PS4 exclusive or PlayStation exclusive. So I'm curious if PlayStation is going to lock up exclusivity to that or if Microsoft's going to move in on that. So should be interesting to see.
I feel like that's going to be on all the systems, but who knows? But maybe. But see, I think first of all, I'm not a Monster Hunter guy at all. I'm not even a Street Fighter guy. I'm a Mortal Kombat guy.
I'm not a Monster Hunter guy, but Monster Hunter World is on the PS Plus collection. So I actually might download that and check it out. We'll see.
I feel like that's one of those games where you need like 200 hours at least, like in like a week or like a month. Yeah, but the Final Fight I love. I have the Intern 2 Up arcade cabinet. I love that game. That's a great game. And the artwork's awesome. If I had to pick a third, it would be Resident Evil 4 Remake. After that, it would be either Mega Man or Street Fighter, I guess. But that covers pretty much everything anyway. A lot of them are Resident Evil and Street Fighter. So there's like 3 Resident Evil and 3 Street Fighters listed on here.
For me, the one that I'm most excited about, to be honest, is Power Stone remake. But I also am interested in the Resident Evil 4 remake. And even though that's potentially coming out in 2022, I just probably won't even play Resident Evil 4 now. Even though I have it, I probably just won't play it and wait for that version to come out because that's going to be the PS5 version and it's probably going to look crazy.
Oh my gosh. I can't play it though. I'm too scared.
A quick question before we get into the boss bits. Now I heard you were gonna pick up Mortal Kombat 11, but wait, we're gonna hold off on that.
Oh, okay. We're gonna tease the audience.
Now onto the boss bits. Now we didn't explain this last time, so we apologize for that. But the boss bits are what we've been playing, what pickups we have, if we've done any hacks recently.
Yeah, I basically tidbits of information about what we've been playing, any good deals we came across, um, what we're looking forward to. Just it's pretty self-explanatory. You'll want to hear it for sure. You got for this Boss Bits episode or Boss Bits
So
section.
this week we turn tragedy into triumph because I had my PS5 ready supposedly on Tuesday, and I was so anxious about it. I drove out to Best Buy to ask them about it, and they said they didn't know anything about it when I went to get an update on it. So when I actually called them later, which that took like over an hour just to get a hold of somebody. I did call the store though, so they were able to sort of give me an update. So when I actually called them back later, they told me that Sony was supposed to ship it out on the Friday, the day after I had ordered it, and it would arrive on Tuesday. However, it had not shipped out until the Tuesday. So I was at least relieved that it had shipped out. And in my mind, I was thinking, okay, well, I'll get this best case scenario by Friday. So I was like, as long as I have it before the weekend, I'll be excited about it.
Sounds like we're getting to a corporate shout out, possibly.
Little to my surprise, I get a notification saying that my PS5 is available for pickup. So I drop everything, drive right out there, and go pick it up. So I want to officially give Best Buy a corporate shout out. Shamster,
Shout out.
yeah, so I got it. I hooked it up, and I thought I was going to play Miles Morales mostly, but to be honest, I got sucked into Astrobot, and I love to see what the DualSense could do because everything that, you were touching or, it felt you could feel it, and it was a combination of the haptic feedback and the speaker. Why don't you tell me about your experience, Shamster?
Well, I was going to mention the speaker. To me, in my opinion, when it comes out of the box and you're just playing it at the default levels, it was a little too loud. It's not like a top of the line speaker; it's a tiny little speaker and a controller. So when it's playing that loud, you can kind of hear that it's not the best audio quality, and it kind of overwhelms just high pitched. So what I did was I turned that down. I found when I turned that down, it sounds a lot better. It's not. It doesn't really sound better. It's just that it's more subtle and it just fits more with what's going on with the haptic feedback. It doesn't screech and it's just not a loud pitch sound.
It definitely was pretty loud. I agree with that.
I think that actually kills the battery faster too. Which actually I wanted to bring that up. So have you paid too much attention to the battery life?
So I just don't want to have the opportunity to run out of battery life. So I basically just been throwing it on the USB-C cable almost every time that I put it in rest mode, which is most of the time. So I haven't really tested it just because I don't want to have it run out on me.
So did you experience so there was some confusion at the beginning that it's literally when I looked it up because I was trying to figure out if there was something wrong with mine, wasn't charging. It said there's confusion about how to charge it or something like that. But all it ended up being where like the back ports work, but the front ones didn't.
Yeah, there was a software update that came out probably on Tuesday, the day I was supposed to pick it up. So it had come out that day or the day before. I don't remember specifically which day, but once that software update was pushed by Sony, then that should have fixed the issue with the front port. However, the way that my
Okay.
PS5 is sort of set up, I would prefer to use the back ports anyway. So that to me is a big win because the PS4 only had the front ports. So having the back ports is actually really nice in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, and okay, two things. Speaking of the ports, I have a power conditioner I use as my HD or no, as my is where I plug everything in because instead of using a surge protector, I use the power conditioner. It's just more heavy duty. It's bigger. It has a lot of dongles on it that you can plug the power into. So on the front of that, I have USB, not USB C, USB. What's interesting though is everything that I have that's electronic charges with that power conditioner, except my DualShock 4 and now my DualSense controller. So I don't know if Sony does something super proprietary or something with I don't, the current type that needs to go through those ports. Whatever, it's not working. But mine wouldn't charge initially. and then it did. So I think it was right around that date. So what I was going to recommend, though, this is what I did, especially at the beginning, because we were still trying to play it, and I think it wasn't charging when we were playing it, and I think it wasn't charging in the other port I mentioned. It may have been charging in rest mode. Might not have been. But what I started doing was using that cord that you mentioned, the USB-C. I actually used the USB-C to USB-C, and I plugged it into the USB-C port on the front of the PlayStation. I ended up buying a big one, cheap on Amazon. Shout out to Amazon, sort of. Not really a full corporate shout out, but I paid not too much at all, a few bucks. I got it's like 10 feet. It's perfect. It's almost like if there's ever a situation and you need emergency gaming and your controller's dead, plug that in and you got plenty of room and it works fine. So I would suggest doing that as a backup, especially if you only have one controller. If you have two, you can kind of always make sure one's charged. But and the other thing I was going to mention, it runs out quick if you're playing DualSense heavy games like Astrobot. If you're playing, PS4 games or indie games or things that don't really utilize all the haptic feedback, it's not going to run out as quick. So I've had it long enough now to be able to tell. It definitely doesn't last that long. Either way, it's kind of the same as the DualShock 4, maybe a little bit better, but hopefully a lot of the games actually use the haptic feedback because it's so awesome. Oh, did you know that if you zoom up, you know how there's a texture on the controller?
Yeah, it's all the PlayStation logos.
Yeah, that's cool. It's a square, triangle, circle, and X.
So can I just say that I fell in love with Astro's Playroom. That game was so much fun, and I wish it was longer. That's sort of my only complaint about it, but it was so charming. It actually
Yes.
makes PlayStation seem like Nintendo-ish by that, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's embracing the
and
back
innovative.
catalog of PlayStation stuff, and it's really embracing like all the different logos. It's so good.
Did it make you more nostalgic, or did it give you more nostalgia for PlayStation?
PlayStation Classic didn't really do much for me. I got it for 20 bucks and just really wanted to just to hack it, but I obviously do have nostalgia for PlayStation cuz I've had every single PlayStation console, but you don't really realize it because there's not the one necessarily franchise and depends on so much third party support that really any game can be differently nostalgic, but there's not like one game sort of like Mario or Zelda that Nintendo has that sort of brings back to it. But I do like that they have Sackboy, they have now Astro. I would like a full Astro game. I really hope they embrace Astro as sort of the PlayStation mascot
Oh
going
yeah,
forward.
yeah. So first thing, Sony to me, like when I think of Sony, I think of like Metal Gear. I think there's a lot of now The Last of Us stuff like that, but that's more recent. But like Metal Gear for sure. So they got properties under their belt. Of when I think of PlayStation itself is extremely charming. It definitely think it reminds me of Nintendo, but in a way that it's off Nintendo games. Like they're not just ripping off a 3D platformer
I
from
totally
Nintendo.
agree with that. It's its own thing and, it controls its own way. So it's for sure not a ripoff of Nintendo, but it definitely feels like a Nintendo game. The thing I liked the least was the CPU highway or the SSD highway where you just have to be on um the paraglider. I did not like that. That was cool. That felt cool. I liked the spring. I felt like that or the adaptive triggers very well.
That was my least favorite. Same level as the glider, which I didn't mind, but what I kept doing while I was you mimic slinging something with a slingshot, and then I kept thinking it was motion control, but it wasn't. Favorite vehicle, so it's not really a suit. The spaceship thing, that was incredible. Haptic feedback for each engine, and like the harder you held it in, more of an engine blast it gave, and you could feel the physics of it. It was programmed really well. And the way they set the levels up for that, the level design was amazing. They're not going to want to do duplicate. They're not going to want to duplicate their efforts. So they're not going to want to create a whole control scheme for haptic and a control scheme for the dual shock because they're two totally different ones. Most likely they'll just do the dual shock because it works on both of them. So I'm worried that it's not going to be utilized to its fullest, kind of like the Wii U gamepad. But Nintendo did use it, and I think Sony will use it, but I don't know if it's going to constantly be used. But it's awesome when done right, which that game does. So yeah,
I feel that if Xbox were to embrace haptic feedbacks, then moving forward, pretty much all the developers would continue to go with it. So I guess we'll see what happens. Hopefully Nintendo is still working with this company, and hopefully Sony will continue with the haptic feedback moving forward. I know they're going to be pushing it pretty
I
hard.
think it's going to continue, and it's going to get, especially after 5 years or more, it's going to be around. It's going to be like Rumble was or is, but I don't know if it's going to the PlayStation 5 specifically if it's going to take off right away. Like there's just going to it's going to be Sony. I think there'll be gimmicks and stuff at first, and then hopefully this isn't the case. But then they might have them for 2 or 3 years. Mostly the good stuff is on Sony. Other people will catch up, but we'll see. Like you said, we'll have to just wait and see. But it's cool technology, kills batteries, but it's worth it. And oh, one more thing I wanted to bring up while we're even talking about this, because this is related. There's been a debate this week about how to power a controller. Do you like the battery approach or do you like the rechargeable controller approach?
Rechargeable all the way.
Yeah, I think unless you have rechargeable batteries, then you might as well go with the rechargeable controller. So yeah, I'm the same way. Especially if you have two controllers, you can always have one ready to go.
I mean, I still have my PS3 controllers and the batteries all work on all those. So, I mean, as long as you just keep your stuff in decent condition, it should be fine.
Yeah, I think it's good.
So, one other thing that I did with the PS5 was tested out the remote play features with my PS4. So, I moved the PS4 downstairs and I was able to connect it to the PS5 and I actually streamed it and I will say it worked pretty well. I didn't really notice too much lag. The only game that I played was Bug Snacks, which was the free PS Plus game. Not a game I would really pay for, but I also didn't really want to try out Astro because that game is so dependent on the DualSense that it would I feel like do injustice to the game to play it with the DualShock 4. But I didn't really want to play Miles Morales on that either, but I just played Bugsnax and streamed it on the PS4 and it worked great. The only issue that I sort of came across was I couldn't connect to it when the PS5 was in sleep mode.
Yeah, so you got to leave it out of sleep.
So if I mean, it would turn it on, but it wouldn't connect. So I don't know.
They'll fix that. They'll patch that.
Yeah, I know it, but to be honest, it seems like it works great, and I think you should try it out, Shamster, because you got
Wait,
that.
wait, wait. Let me clarify again because I keep forgetting. Does the PS5 stream to the PS4 or the PS4 streams to the PS5?
You connect on your PS4 and stream the PS5 to the PS4.
Stream the PS5 to the PS4. So if I had my PS4, okay. So that's actually cool. I thought it was the other way around, where you would streaming the PS4 to the PS5. Then I'm like, well, why would you do that? Because you got the new system anyway. But even if you wanted to play those old games, you can download them or even play them on there.
Yeah,
So okay,
exactly.
it's the other way around. But is there a lot of lag?
I didn't notice too much. I also didn't play a really graphically intensive game or a game that would necessarily need strict controls. I played Bugsnax, which seemed to be a pretty relaxed, chill game. So didn't seem to be necessary for that. I wouldn't necessarily use it for a game where you need precise controls for, but for what it was, it worked pretty well for me.
All right, I'll have to check it out because I'm actually I decided to put the PS4 upstairs, the chaos room, which is the living room because I'm in the basement right now. But I'm gonna put it there, so that's cool because that makes more sense. Oh, we're all hanging out. Let's check out that new PS5 thing. See what's going on.
Oh yeah.
I got the PS5. Do you think there'll be a PS6?
Yeah.
They're gonna change it to PlayStation and just call it PlayStation. That's what they should do.
I think that'll be a PS6. I think they're going to continue with the numbers until it stops selling, hundreds of millions of of
Like,
consoles.
like Madden, so it'll be like PS23
I don't think we'll be alive for that, but yeah, we'll see.
because that's 23 times at least 6 or 7.
So with my excitement of getting the PS5, I was not anticipating to want to play this right away. I was actually gonna want to jump into Spider-Man, but when I went to GameStop on Friday and grabbed my copy of Hyrule Warriors, I saw the box art for it and it looked so hype and it looked like Star Wars and I would just wanted to play it and that's what I've been doing too. I've also just been playing Hyrule Warriors. Shamster, what about you?
I also played Hyrule Warriors, but I ended up playing it immediately after playing a session of Miles Morales, and the drop off is definitely noticeable going from the new gen to the current gen or last gen, whatever you want to call it. But it's great. The music, I love how you can cook. It's fast. One thing, I mean, the pop up is definitely noticeable. That's part of going back to that older hardware. But the game itself is great. What do you think?
I love the game, but I definitely agree. Graphically, it could use some work. It's definitely choppy at some points. You can tell that for sure.
A choppy, a little bit of pop in, a lot of pop in.
But I love it. I mean, compared to the first Hyrule Warriors game, at least thus far, to me, I like it a lot better because when you have multiple characters, you can give orders to one to go to a certain spot while you get to the other, while you go elsewhere. The one thing I'll say is I do kind of,
And you could switch. You know, you could switch, right?
yeah, yeah. One thing I did wanna say is I still kinda get confused with the map and sorta going and sometimes it doesn't make the most sense when you're navigating around and the map doesn't mesh with where you're trying to go, like, it's kinda weird. To me, to me, I have trouble with the map. What about you?
Well, did you ever play Dynasty Warriors games?
Yeah, we talked about this before.
Yeah, I don't remember specifically if there was a problem with the map there, but it stands out to me. I feel like I had to open up certain areas, secret areas before it would even appear on the map, and it would look like you're restricted. You couldn't go to a certain section, but then you can. I don't know, but I didn't play it too much because I played a lot of Astrobot and finished that. And but I did try. I tried to do. It's probably only like, to be honest with you, like 45 minutes, but it's good. And the music, all that graphical downgrades, yes. There was something I wanted to bring up. I like how the baby guardian kind of reminds me of Baby Yoda. That's pretty funny. Kind of a spoiler, but it's from the beginning of the game, so it's like really close to the very beginning. So it's not really. It's probably not a spoiler. It's a baby guardian.
To me, the Baby Guardian reminds me more of a BB-8 slash R2D2 with the noises it makes,
Yeah.
but the actual character is supposed to be like a Baby Yoda.
Oh, so I thought the first two things I thought of was first Baby Yoda, and then R2D2 because of the sounds, and I didn't hear the sounds at first. So I don't know if they did that on purpose or what, but I don't know. Maybe there'll be a baby guardian amiibo. That'd be cool.
So I've played about 2 of the main missions. I played the one with Daruk where you actually get to play as the uh, Divine Beast, and I will say that I was hoping the Divine Beast play would be better than it was. It was definitely pretty clunky to be honest, but I mean, I enjoyed it. The whole general gameplay is kinda clunky a little bit, but just, like, all the cutscenes are so
It's
good.
good though.
All the cutscenes are
Yeah.
so good, and to be honest, compared to the first Hyrule Warriors game, I like the combat a lot better because I'm not, like, failing missions because a certain base over here got lost or something like that. To me, so far, the objectives are more precise and easier to follow, so to me, I'm enjoying it so far. I'm guessing I got a little bit farther than you, but
Yeah, it's close. I didn't get there, but maybe I'm close. I got past the first section where you had to retake all the outposts, and then
mhm,
this isn't really a spoiler probably because it's so close to the beginning of the game. But right after the tower comes up, and then a little bit after that, yeah, it's a good overall. It's definitely a good game. It seems pretty deep too, and it seems like it's gonna be. I read that it's a long game.
yeah, according to How Long to Beat, I think it was roughly 22 hours, so it should be good.
Yeah, it's gonna be fine. And even if it's not, I mean, it's good enough already. And the music and the cutscenes and the sound effects and the cooking, like it's all Breath of the Wild.
It's worth playing even just for the cutscenes if you wanted to throw it on easy difficulty and just, playing through it.
Rock it, just rock through everybody.
I'm going on normal right now, but if I have trouble at some point, I'll just move down to difficulty because I wanna just continue to play it.
Oh, by the way, the shield surfing is awesome. You can just wreck through everybody like a bowling ball going through all the pins.
Yep.
It's pretty cool. It's a good game. It's definitely good. It's worth getting. What else? What else we got?
So there's also amiibo support for Hyrule Warriors, and I have not tested this out myself, and I have every Zelda amiibo card. I just got like a thing off eBay and it just you can scan it and it counts as each type of amiibo. I also have a lot of like actual amiibos, but why bother even taking those down if I had just got the amiibo cards? So I'll probably check that out next time I play it and have access to that. But Champster, did you test that out at all?
Amiibo?
Yeah.
No, but I already looked it up while you were talking. That's why I wasn't exactly sure if you moved away from that. So, scanning Amiibo, they put an S in Amiibos, even though that's grammatically incorrect. Scanning Amiibos in Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity will earn you some new items, blah, blah, blah. You'll get weapons to use on the battlefield. You'll get random items. This is just to give the author credit. It's gamepure.com, GAMEPUR.com. Just came up in Google. But unfortunately, there's no additional functionality for Amiibo as of this writing and likely will not be. Regardless, it is a decent way to make use of your Amiibo that are gathering dust. I don't know how reliable this is. Seems like it gives you some weapons. I had a question for you, though. Maybe you have some insight on this. I don't know. I couldn't remember. The Amiibo, the more I thought about it, do most of the Amiibo are they mainly designed for Nintendo games, right? Nintendo property? And this isn't really officially Nintendo.
Amiibo is owned by Nintendo.
No, I know that. Amiibo is Nintendo, but all the characters, except for maybe Shovel Knight, I'm trying to think of which characters aren't for actual Nintendo owned games.
There are some that are like third parties, but those are for Smash Brothers, and that's the only ones I know about.
Yeah, so that's why I'm thinking there might not be much Amiibo support because it's not a Nintendo owned game. So we'll see. But yeah, the Amiibo support's up in the air. Probably does some stuff. Probably won't ever do a lot.
I think it'll be similar. There was some Amiibo support in the first Hyrule Warriors game on the Switch when they released the definitive edition, and it just gave you items basically. So I think it'll be the same thing.
Yeah, we'll see. So, all right, it looks like we got a lot of good news this week and good stuff to talk about. But did you have more? I think you received something in the mail, right?
Yeah, so the other day I received Star Wars on Nintendo Switch from Limited Run Games.
Which Star Wars game are you talking about?
So I received Star Wars, Jedi Knight, and Jedi Outcast from Limited Run
Ooh.
Games. There will be an unboxing coming in the week about that.
Where can they find that?
I've already recorded it, and then you can find that on.
The Boss Room YouTube page.
And I've also received Panzer Dragoon today from Limited Run Games. And these are orders that I've been waiting for a long time for. So nothing too crazy, but we'll try and get some unboxings of everything, including Hyrule Warriors, in the coming weeks.
The box, just because you mentioned it again, the box art on Hyrule Warriors is awesome. And maybe we should mention European versions. Which ones are all crazy that was uncovered this week?
I'm not sure which country it's from. I want to say it's from like Switzerland, and it was like 3 different languages, and it was like 3 logos with Hyrule Warriors because Age of Calamity is written out in different languages. I'm not sure exactly where it was, but it looked pretty funny.
It's pretty ridiculous, and maybe it was Photoshop, but yeah, they basically slapped the title and the subtitle on it multiple times in different languages, all across the awesome box art of the game. Yeah, the box art's cool. Yeah, you got anything else?
I have nothing else. I heard you have some pickups, and a reason why you didn't pick up Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate. What's going on with that?
Well, it's not like top secret reasons. It's just because the game's so microtransaction-y. And I feel like if I'm gonna, basically, I'm trying. Okay, let's rewind. I've mentioned some of this last week. There's not a ton of games on the PS5, so it's like you want something cool to play that seems next gen fully. Astrobot did, and then it seems like Demon Souls and what's the other one? Other exclusive?
Sackboy?
No, that's an exclusive to the other one that I
Spider-Man?
think is just for PS5. No, it's just for PS5. Demon Souls and like King Fall. What is it?
Godfall.
Godfall. Supposedly, those games look great. They look good. I thought it looked okay actually when I watched it on YouTube, but it seemed like they're supposed to be really good games that seem like they're next gen for the PS5. I don't like those games. I'm not into those games. So I was going to get Mortal Kombat 11 because I love Mortal Kombat, but so many microtransactions, and Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate is the PS5 version, and it's not Aftermath. That was the PS4 second version, but it includes Mortal Kombat 11 and Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath in one package with it's called like a Combat Pack 1 and a Combat Pack 2, and it's just got all the stuff, and there's going to be downloadable skins and more characters, maybe. I don't know if they will, but levels, whatever. And it's just kind of annoying. I don't know if you've ever played Mortal Kombat 11. Like the gameplay itself is great. I love it.
So I actually do have Mortal Kombat 11. I just have the base game. I don't have the Ultimate Edition or anything. I got it on Black Friday last year, so I haven't tested it out on the PS5 yet, but I wanna definitely see how that PS5 patch comes into that, but I don't have any of the DLC that's included, it's just the base game, it doesn't include any of the combo packs or whatever in there, so we'll see how it goes, but I played a little bit of it, but not too much. I definitely wanna see how that PS5 patch looks on that game, though.
Well, that's another thing. I saw a comparison video. I don't know. They always seem kind of the same to me whenever I see a comparison video. Probably because it's compressed and it's going through YouTube. But they did a back to back, side by side PS4, PS5 comparison with the graphics, and it looks kind of the same. I'm sure it looks a lot better, especially with the lighting effects. But I already thought the PS4 version looked incredible. So I'm sure it's going to look better. I don't know if it's going to be worth, it's $60 worth better because that's a full price game. I feel like it's going to go down in price fairly quickly. So I might wait to pick that one up, but I almost got it. If it weren't for all the microtransactions and like the rewards and awards and all that stuff just pop up all over the place, which gets annoying, I probably would have picked it up.
Do you still have the steelbook for that?
No, so when I had the steelbook, I had the game, which I think I got separately, but I don't remember. Oh, I think I did get it Black Friday like you did, or around then cheap. And I had the steelbook cheap. I sold them both, I think, as a kit. I don't remember if I did that when Aftermath was announced, but I did it while it was still worth money. So I got all my money back. Not a little bit more, maybe. I don't remember. But I don't have it anymore, which is why I might buy it. Although it's funny because now I kind of want the steelbook back. So I don't know. We'll see. I'll probably just end up waiting and getting it cheap at some point.
What other pickups do you have?
Yeah, I got the NES Remix Pack. We talk about that a lot. I can never remember which one I have for the Wii U and which one I have for the 3DS. And one's digital and one's physical, I think. The boxes are packed away.
So would you say that me talking about it last week inspired you to get it, or did you have your eye on it for a while already?
I always loved that game, and I always had my eye. I want to get all the good Wii U physical games because I love the Wii U, and the games are going to get harder and harder to get. And I love that system, so I wanted to get that anyway. But reminded me of it. I'll say that. With Wonderful 101, it was one of those games that you could still get it cheap. You should get it now, as they're going to be rare because a lot of people didn't have the Wii U. So yeah, you reminded me of it. And I picked it up. I got it super cheap on eBay, so it's fine. The other game, this is a pickup I mentioned, I think, last week, and it's a game I just played this week, Alleyway. And we talked about that because you mentioned possibly getting it. That game's good. I mean, it's old school and hardcore, so as soon as all your lives are gone, like 3 or 4 lives, boom, game over. Start at the beginning again. But the levels are cool. I got to level 7 or 8. The levels, it's a brick breaking game. What's cool about it is it starts you off with one type of level, and then you go to the different level or the same level, but then the ceiling starts caving in every few minutes. And then some of the levels don't do that. They actually scroll from left to right. Everything moves. And then there's bonus stages, so there'll be like a big Mario person made of a lot of the little bricks that you have to break, and you try to break them all within a certain amount of time to get bonus points and extra lives. So I played that super old school, Game Boy original. It's just a fun game.
Definitely a game that I do want to pick up at some point. Not, whenever I see it, it seems like it's a common enough game that I can just find it at some point. But something I'll keep my eye out for sure.
It's definitely common. The only reason I picked it up with the when I did was because I got it was a nice clean copy and it was super cheap. And I had the manual, which is also nice and clean and was basically free. Yeah, you should check it out at some point. It'll probably get more expensive over time, but you got some time. Did you ever play Strider, the old school one, arcade one, or the one on the SNES?
Isn't there one on the Genesis Classic?
I think so, probably.
I played a little bit of it, but not too much of it. Is that a Capcom game?
Yeah, it's a Capcom game, and it's a really good game. And it was in the arcade, and then there was one for the SNES or the NES. I keep forgetting, and it was really good. I think it was the NES actually. Yeah, NES, I think. And the one I got though is a Capcom reboot. And I don't know. Did you play the Bionic Commando reboot ever?
No. What year did the Strider remake come out?
I'm not even sure, but definitely pick it up because I think I got it one of those super PlayStation sales where they do the like $3 or $5 or something. And it's like a full-fledged reboot, and even the music is the same, but it's remixed, and it's fast, and it's I don't know if it's 60 frames per second, but it seems like it is, and it's really good, and the controls are just really good. That's what made the first one so good, the original arcade one. So I played a lot of that. It's hard. I even put it on easy, and it was still pretty hard. But I started get you start flowing, you start realizing he could do all kinds of crazy moves. So you have this like really fast saber or sword, and you just rush people. It's kind of hard to explain. It's a side-scrolling action platformer. Definitely worth checking out. That's what I played.
Looks like it came out in 2014.
Yeah, it's probably pretty. That's probably why I got it so cheap. Shadow Complex. Remember that game?
Yeah, so that was actually one of the games that did not initially receive PS5 support, but apparently the developers just released a patch and now it does support the PS5.
Was that really one of the 1% of the games that didn't?
Yeah,
Wow. Well, that's a big one. So good thing they got that worked out. But I'm only bringing it up because it reminds me of Strider, the setting and like the type of like sci-fi-ish future kind of army base action. It's not necessarily the same gameplay, but it's similar. It reminds me of that. But Strider is a classic. Strider started it all. That's why I wanted to bring that up because Shadow Complex was the game. I didn't play it a ton. I think I had it on the Xbox 360. When did that game come out? I think it was 2009, maybe. Yeah, 2009. August 19th, 2009, according to the good old Wikipedia. Good game, but Strider's better, and that's what I've been playing.
BFT boss featured topic.
NFT.
so this is week 2 of PlayStation Month where we are talking about our PS2 memories. Shamster, what do you remember about the PS2? I actually have a lot to talk about, so I'll let you go first.
PS2 memories. The first one that sticks out. Well, there's two that stick out the most. The first one is I want to say that was my first Super Line adventure all nighter from like 6 in the evening one day until 8 a.m. or whenever the store opened the next day. And I think I did something similar for N64. I was young, and I don't remember if I drove, if I could even drive then. I don't remember. To the store. Yeah, I could drive then. If I could, I went to the store. This was different though, because that was Black Friday morning, and I kind of waited outside of some chaotic line. This one was where I actually waited overnight, and I don't usually do that. But I had some time at that point or at that moment in my life where it didn't really matter. I could kind of do that kind of thing, and I met a lot of cool people. Uh, just that's basically what it was. It was all night. Met a lot of cool people. The weather was fine. A little chilly.
Do you remember the store?
Yeah, I remember the store, Target. It was one of the first times I've ever been to a Target. Actually, maybe the first. But it was a Target, and that leads into my second memory. So the first being all nighter.
So for me, I was very excited about getting a PS2 and I wanted one so bad because Grand Theft Auto 3 came out and that's the game I really wanted, but it's not the game I got when I first got the console. So I was in 8th grade trying to get it and I would go on, all those different sites that would be like, "Oh, fill out all these forms to get a PS2." And I did like a million of those to get one and, obviously I wasn't didn't have a credit card or wasn't willing to give a credit card for that. So what I eventually did was I had a bunch of old wrestling figures. I was really into wrestling for a while and I sold those on eBay thanks to my brother. Shout out to my brother.
Shout out.
And I was able to get enough money to pitch in for a Christmas gift to get a PS2. So I got the Gran Turismo version of the PS2 and I also got Tony Hawk and SmackDown Just Bring It on Christmas Day and I set that up and I've never really been into Gran Turismo since then because to me it's too
Realistic.
it's too realistic and I'd prefer the arcade version.
Yeah, that's how I am.
But I played a lot of Tony Hawk 3 on that and I played a lot of SmackDown. That was really fun. But I did eventually get Grand Theft Auto 3 and that was, the game I was the most excited about. Did you get that back in the day?
Yeah, well, first let me ask you a question. Was that release day that you got it, or was that after?
I got it on Christmas and it was maybe a year or so after it came out, but I obviously
That's when all the games were out, so that's fine.
yeah, I mean, I was young, so I didn't really have money or anything.
Born a Paperboy.
No.
I got the so yeah. I waited in line for the PS2. Did you? What was your question?
Did you get Grand Theft Auto 3 when it came out?
I did. No, actually, okay. So my roommate had it, and he was also the guy that had the best TV out of all the people I knew. I lived with them, so we had like a giant TV. It was cool. Um, I liked the one I liked mostly was Vice City. That's the one I was mostly into.
Yeah, so for me, Vice City was probably my favorite PS2 game and definitely my favorite Grand Theft Auto game of all time. That one I put so much time into, and I love that.
Soundtrack,
Yeah, oh yeah, I love that game.
but yeah. So the other big memory I have with it is huge to me because I got it after waiting all night, met a lot of cool people, whatever. Yeah, it was awesome. But when I was in the Target and I had to select the game, I don't. Do you remember what games there were at release? There wasn't really much. I'm gonna look that up too.
I'm not sure.
What I ended up getting was so there was Dead or Alive 2, which is a good game. Armored Core 2, Dynasty Warriors 2. Speaking of Hyrule Warriors, some other ESPN games. The one I remember, the one I grabbed, the one I selected at the store was SSX. Have you ever heard of that game?
Yeah, SSX Tricky is a really awesome game, which I don't have, and that game I really want to get for GameCube.
Tricky's good. I like the original better for a lot of reasons. We can talk about that during another show. But SSX was a game that looked cool. It was a snowboarding game, whatever, but it looked arcadey. Which we talked about how we kind of like that, at least for racing games. And I grabbed it, and I loved it. It was incredible. It was great. But then what made it even better was I'd have friends come over, and we'd literally pull all nighters like regularly as I could back then, playing that game. And we would even do like we'd race each other's times. We just played it so much, and it was such a good game. So good. And then Tricky came out. That's a whole nother story. But yeah, that's playing all nighters to SSX for a while was a huge memory for my PS2. What other memories do you have?
I'll just talk about a few games and just a few quick shout outs about the PS2 because, first of all, the PS2 was my very first DVD player, and that was pretty incredible to have.
That too. Blade on DVD.
I didn't have Blade on DVD, but I definitely used it as a DVD player.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's I should have mentioned that. But yeah, what else did you like about the DVD player
I mean, there's
besides it being a DVD player?
there's nothing really else to say other than I remember buying DVDs and watching them on there. But
Matrix.
I'm sure I think I rented it at one point.
That's definitely that's a non-rental. You should get that non-rental. This is good that you brought this up. What DVDs did you have for it? What were the big DVDs for you back then?
I mean, I was in high school, so like Jay and Silent Bob was like a big DVD, but like what I really have now, like maybe The Departed, that came out later on. I don't know.
What? Yeah, that Inception. That was good. Another show. So okay, the DVD player. Keep going.
So a few other games I did want to mention was I had Simpsons Hit and Run, which was an awesome game, which I actually got semi recently, maybe like 2 years ago on GameCube, and I actually played through and finished it. And that game is awesome. It's basically Simpsons Grand Theft Auto. One other game that I want to give a shout out to was San Andreas, which by the time that I got San Andreas, I was kind of Grand Theft Auto'd out, but I do appreciate what it did for the PS2 because that was like the biggest open world game and you can kind of do anything from the jump. So, really big shout out to the PS2, one of the best systems of all time. Still the best selling home console of all time.
Two things I wanted to mention. God of War. I remember playing that for the first time on the PS2, and that was I want to say that was right after I got like a small version of the PS2. It was a mini version, right, or a slim version, PS2
Yeah,
Slim.
it had the top loading.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, that was it. And I had God of War for that. That was awesome. In fact, I might even pick up a little PS2.
I actually have one, and I have a regular PS2. Those are my brother-in-law's. Like when I took all the gaming stuff from their house, I don't even have them hooked up because they're just so big. But I might actually display them somewhere. I do have a regular PS2, which I have so much. That's the nostalgic one for me. But maybe I'll actually hook up the slim PS2. We'll see.
Yeah, the PS2 is worth hooking up because there was so many games for that thing. So many. But the other thing I remember about it was the music screen. Do you remember that? Like the light show thing
Yeah,
that it did? And you could play CDs. You could like make it go crazy, and it was just crazy. Yeah, so that was another big one. I love that. And I think that made a cameo in Astro's Playworld too, didn't it? Or Astro's Playroom. I think it was there somewhere. The sound. I remember the sound. Those are my big PS2 memories.
But yeah, PS2 for me was pretty big because one final thing for me was it was actually the first system or first console that was mine because I had shared all my other systems with my brothers, and this was the sort of the first brand new system that I pitched in to get, and it was mine. So that really was special to me.
It's definitely a good Christmas gift.
I was literally dreaming about getting the PS2 when I was in eighth grade.
Did you know you were? So you knew you were getting it. You didn't just give them the money and just say,
Yeah, I
"Surprise
knew I
me."
was getting it, so even still, like, knowing it was in my house, but I couldn't play it was, like it was tough.
Yeah, that's Parasite Eve. Do you remember that game? There's so many. I
Keep
could keep
going.
rattling them off.
No, go ahead.
I'm not going to. Do you remember the Bouncer?
No.
Remember that at all? I think it was a launch title. I think it was like a dude that worked at a bar and he had a motorcycle and it was like an action game.
Oh, actually, one other thing I do wanna mention, NFL 2K5, that was the game that NFL Take-Two actually went after, Madden, and they released that game, which had T.O. from the Eagles on it, and he was on the cover of it, and that game was 20
Yo,
bucks, and Madden was still selling for 60, and then that basically caused EA to purchase the NFL rights for Madden for simulation, and now sort of, you know, looking back at it, technically, I think Take-Two or some other company has rights to make an arcade version of NFL games, which that should be pretty cool.
yeah, that definitely would be cool. I just found a game that I remember, and you probably do too. Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. Do you remember that?
There is a remake coming out of that.
Check that out. I don't know if that was exclusive to the PS2, but that's definitely where I played it.
I played a ton of Guitar Hero over at my buddy's house,
And that game used to hype me up.
on the PS2. Yeah, that's where we mostly played it.
What was your were you the Aerosmith kind of guy?
Nah, man, I was mostly about Rage, Killing in the Name of. That was my
Oh
song.
man, good song. Um, Metal Gear Solid 2 that came out early, and there was a lot of controversy with that game. But yeah, Gran Turismo 4 was a big one, and Kingdom Hearts was a big one, but I wasn't really into that. And Okami came out for the PS2. Ico, there was a lot of games. Even God of War 2, because I mentioned God of War 1, then Vice City, a lot of at least 2 Metal Gears, because Metal Gear Solid 3 also came out for it. Snake Eater, which is my favorite one. There's some annoying things about it, but it's great. You said you never played it. Oh, you did play Metal Gear. You never played Metal Gear Solid.
I haven't played any of them.
I thought you played Metal Gear 5, Solid 5.
Oh, I played that for a little bit, but I didn't even make it past the first mission, so I don't really count.
Metal Gear Solid is not like that at all. You should check it out.
So there's like a collection for the PS3 that I actually do want to get, which it has all the like NES games and all the way up to Metal Gear Solid 4. So I want to pick that up at some point.
And it just popped into my head. I think I kind of have to get a PS2 because I have a PS1, I have a PS3, I have a PS4, and now I have a PS5. So like I don't really have a choice. I think I'm gonna have to try to find one cheap. There was so many of those things all over the place.
Over 150 million sales.
Yeah, they're
You'll be able to get one cheap. I might get this right now because Metal Gear Solid Collection on Amazon is $23 for PS3.
really for which
Hold on,
PS3.
I'm gonna share. This is dope. I might get this right now.
Telling you, Metal Gear Solid, the original Metal Gear Solid is a nice, quick game. Like you don't, it's not like Metal Gear Solid 5 where you have to study it and play for hours. It's just it's a story. It's pretty straightforward. It's incredible. Music's incredible. It's a great game.
So yeah, PS2. What a legacy. What a system.
Shout out to PS2.
Shout out definitely to the PS2. Well, we want to thank you for listening to the Boss Room tonight. You can find us on our Twitter page at _Boss Room. And you can also find unboxings and hopefully some stuff in the future on our YouTube channel. Just search the Boss Room on YouTube. I'm Alex Kaz.
Jamster.
Have a great night. Thank you very much for listening.